to my kitchen and my frying pan. This is an old skillet, an old cast iron skillet. I love them. So I'm going to make pineapple upside down cake today. I don't know if you've ever had it, but it is so good, and it's really very easy. And I like it because it also is basically a one-layer cake. So if you want a small cake, like half a cake, this is perfect for you. So you want I think this is like a 10-inch basic size cast iron skillet because it'll go in the oven. I actually need to turn my oven on so it's warming up. So it goes on 350. I've got this on, the burner is already heated. So you're going to make the topping for pineapple upside down cake, and I'm going to start with 1 stick of butter. This is unsalted butter, but if all you have is salted, it'll work. You probably can't even tell the difference. I've never been able to tell. So I have these little half sticks, and I don't want that to burn, so I'm going to turn that lower. I just love cast iron skillets. This one was my former family member's son. It's a good one. Okay. So I'm going to get a spoon and stir this around a little. Get this to melt. And then we're going to add some things in here. Now we're going to add, it's really simple, a cup of brown sugar. A cup of brown sugar here. How much I have in here of this. I have more in the cabinet, but let's see how much brown sugar I have in my container here. I might have to get more out. So this is my grandmother's recipe, and I'm not sure how long she had this recipe, but I know it's got to be pretty old. I don't know if this is from the 50s or 60s or before. 2, I'm definitely going to have to get another package of brown sugar. Let me get everything out of here first. Okay. Stick it in here. It's really sticking. Get a knife and get this out. Try to get that in there. And you know, when you measure brown sugar, you are always supposed to pack brown sugar into the cup. That is how you measure brown sugar. Pack it in. I'm at the very bottom of this. I'm trying to see if it'll pack. I guess I should have moved the camera, but I didn't. I'm trying to see if it'll pack and be enough, is what I'm saying. It's not quite enough. So let me get my other package of brown sugar. Just hold on. Let's see, where are you? Here you are. I did not know this was going to take quite this long. So this is what our dessert's going to be for today. Now I didn't do the whole meal on live because I am making the Mississippi pot roast again that I made before online. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so this is 3/4 of a cup. Well, turn that back up a little bit again, and then one more to make 1 full cup. I'm only using this smaller measuring cup because it fits down in my container. Okay. So then I am going to take my little, see, that's what I did not want to happen. Luckily I saw it. This thing just does not stay on the stand well. I'm going to take my little container, empty my bag into here, and put my new nifty little thing in here that I have. I'm going to show you. I think I showed this last time, so you may have seen it. This little terracotta disc keeps your stuff from getting hard. You just put it in there. Just make sure you don't eat it. Don't eat it. Don't cook it. Okay, so there we have that. Okay, let me put this back. There we go. So I'm going to, break this up and stir this around with the butter. I've got this turned on kind of low because you don't really need to cook this. You just need to melt the butter. Stir it around. we go. Oh, don't look good. Just butter and brown sugar. Then you are going to add a cup of sliced and or crushed pineapple. I always get the one in the heavy syrup because I like it sweet. You can get the one in the pineapple juice if you want. I'm just using the crushed because I like the crushed better. The rings, they're really pretty, but they also are harder to eat because you have to actually cut them to eat. If, you know, you have to cut through them. And I like this better. So a cup of this, and what's in here is 20 ounces. I don't know that I usually even really measure this. And it's, I think you don't use the juice, so it's sort of kind of drained. I don't really drain it a lot. Let me get, I'm going to be using my 1 cup measure here in a minute. So let's get my half cup measure. So I'm going to I'm just going to, like, you know, put the pineapple in here to measure. But if you like the rings, you can put the rings down around it. It'll hold about 4 or 5 rings. And usually I do about 4. And then if you like the little maraschino cherries, I don't remember if my grandmother ever put those in, but you can add those. Just get some and add them. Okay, so here's half a cup. Okay, then let's do some more. It is going to be close to about 1 can, I think. I'll probably just end up putting the rest of this can on here because it's not like I'm going to throw it away. Yeah, it's close to like 1 can of crushed pineapple. And you'll have a little juice in there. It'll be fine. The can seems to be about 1.5 cups, I'd say. And like I say, I never really kind of measured it before when I made it. I just dumped some of the crushed in, and I would use the rings, and I'm like, I don't even know how much is in there. And it didn't matter too much. So if you want to just use the crushed pineapple, you would use, you can use 3/4 to the whole can. I'm just trying to pour off some of the extra juice. So it'll be extra pineapple-y. I'll just make it better. There's just a little bit left in here. Just getting it out of the thing here. Hi, how are you doing? Hello, hello. So again, you don't really have to cook this because it's going to bake in the oven. So then you're just going to take your pineapple, spread it out. The thing about me adding extra is it's going to make, it might make too much volume in the, it might make too much volume in the pan. Hopefully it's not going to be a big deal. So there's our pineapple. Then we're going to go make our cake part. And I kind of made a mess over here with pineapple juice. You know, you can save that pineapple juice and drink it. Be good. Good. Hold on, let me clean up my mess here. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm actually going to turn that off because you don't need to do anything more with it. Let it sit. And then let me take you over here to this. And let me also fix my thing here so it'll hold. Hopefully that won't pop back off again. Okay, so now we are going to make the batter. And this just makes such a nice size cake if you just want a small cake. Because it's like half the size of a regular cake. I said that earlier, but in case somebody wasn't here earlier, I'll say it again. Okay, so we are going to start with another stick of butter. A softened stick of butter. This is unsalted I'm using. Okay, that's half of it. the other half. I just love making recipes like that were from my memories of my childhood when my grandmother made this. Just always makes me think of her. My grandmother, that particular grandmother, she lived till about 3 months short of her 99th birthday. Going to beat that softened butter, and then you're going to add a cup of sugar. If I can use this knife right here. Here, there's my little sugar cup. Take my knife. I've got my Christmas music playing. Oh, I just love Christmas music. It just makes me happy to hear Christmas music. The problem with it is I get kind of depressed when I have to turn it off after Christmas is over. Makes me happy while I hear it, but then I get sad. There's your butter and sugar. Then we are going to add the other ingredients. Okay, so we're going to add, I'm going to go ahead and add a teaspoon of vanilla. Spoon of vanilla. Then you're going to have 2 eggs. One more egg. And I usually let the eggs sit out for about half an hour. That way they're not cold. You're supposed to do that. And that way they don't like start solidifying the softened butter. Because it can then kind of make it lumpy. I don't really know if it hurts the cake, but they say you're supposed to do that. Okay, there's all that. I think I'm going to take my little scraper here. And take the big scraper. And I'm going to get some of this sugar that's sticking to the beater here. It's down there too. It does a good job of scraping the pan, but sometimes sticks to this beater. Okay. Okay, there we go. Then we are going to add, let's see where we're at here. We need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Let's see where we're at here. We have the sugar, we have the eggs, salt. We need 1.5 cups of flour. Let me get my 1/2 cup measure over here. It's draining. I use that, and it is wet now. Okay, so let's do my little trick of the whisk. Lighten up the flour so it isn't packed in. Then let's do a half a cup. So we're going to need a cup and a half. So let's do a half a cup. Then I'm going to go ahead and do, it says 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So let's put one in. Go ahead and put one in. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That's this one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mix that a little bit. Then it calls for half a cup of milk. It's just a regular milk, so I'm going to pour about half of that in. Mix that. So this is me alternating my dry and wet ingredients without like actually pre-mixing them. Okay, so let's do another half a cup of flour. You can pre-mix them and do it. Just add a little bit at a time if you want, but this is good. Another half a cup of flour. Another teaspoon of baking powder, which is the rest of the baking powder. Okay, now let's mix that. That's all the baking powder we need. You just gotta remember what you did if you do it this way. Starting to look like cake batter. Okay, then we're going to do the rest of the half a cup of milk. Okay, and then the very last half cup of flour. So you have a cup and a half of flour total. This is the third half a cup. And we already have all our baking powder, so let me make sure I've got everything. Baking powder, vanilla, flour, salt, milk, eggs, sugar, and then the rest of it's the topping, which we have over there. Okay, got it all. I got my beater in the wrong place. Let's move it. There we go. I need a dumping spot. All right, there's the end of the flour. All right, there you go. That's it. Now we're just going to pour that on top of our pineapple topping. And then we are going to bake it uncovered, just like you would any cake. You're going to bake it at 350 degrees for 30 to 45 minutes, just until you can test it done. So let's go back over here. Here is our Mississippi pot roast that is cooking in the crock pot. I added carrots and potatoes. So it's going to be like stew. You would cheat and use a box cake. Yes, you can do that too. There used to be I don't know if they even still make it. There used to be a box cake that came with the pineapple in it. It was either Betty Crocker or Duncan Hines. I don't remember. But it was good. I used to make it, but I don't know if they still have it. but it came with the brown sugar topping and the crushed pineapple already in it. And I think you may have just had to add the butter. And I used to make it, and it was good cake. But I can't find that now. I don't know if they took that away or whatever. But yeah, you can use a box cake. But this cake is really good. Every time I make this, she's going to do it again today. Every time I make this recipe, my mother will tell me, oh, this cake is really good even by itself. So if you just wanted like a vanilla cake without the pineapple, you can just make this cake, and you could even eat this cake without frosting. It's so good. It would be like a coffee cake. It's a really good cake. And like I say, it's nice that it's not like a 2-layer cake. It's like a 1-layer cake. So if you just want a little bit of cake, it's not too big. Okay, so let's get and that's what our batter looks like. It's almost more like a pound cake consistency. That is really good. So we're going to scrape it in. And you kind of have to lay this around because it won't really pour. Not this one. Because it is thick. So you want to kind of place it where you want it. Because if you try to do much spreading, you're just going to mess up your topping. Where it's going to not lay right. And you'll kind of get the butter and everything will ooze through it. And that'll be fine. It won't hurt it. But if you don't have a cast iron skillet, you just need an oven-proof skillet. You know, one that doesn't have a handle that will melt in the oven. One that'll go in the oven. And it will be nice and browned on top, a little crispy on the edges. Oh, so yummy. My dad always said his favorite part was the crispy edges. Okay, there's all of that. So I do kind of take and spread it a little bit. Try to even it some, because as you see, this will not self-level because it's a thick batter. So I try to level it without disturbing. But see, we have a whole puddle of butter here. That's not going to matter. It's going to be good. Not going to hurt a thing. Like Paula Deen. Oh, just add more butter. This cake does have a lot of butter. Because it has butter in the topping and butter in the cake. This would be a Paula Deen cake if she ever tried this. She would love this. Okay. I'm going to take the last little bit of batter, put it in there. There you go. I'm going to put it in the oven. Ah! I'm going to trip over my rug. Hold on. Luckily, I was leaning against the sink and have anywhere to fall. Let's see, is that too... No, it's not too hot for me to touch. Okay. So here we go to our oven. Open our oven. We're going to stick it in. We're going to set it for 30 minutes to check. I think it usually does take longer than just 30 minutes. It probably usually does take... I don't remember. I'll have to check it this time and see. But let's set our timer for 30 minutes and we will check. And there we go. And here is my recipe. I'll take a picture of it. Oh, it's glaring really bad. I will take a picture of it and put it in there. Post a picture. Oh, I'll definitely post a picture. It is a beautiful cake. Now, when you take it out of the skillet, you want to take it out when it's still a little warm. You do want to let it sit for like 15 minutes. Any cake taken out of the oven, you have to let it sit or it'll just fall apart if you try to take it out of the pan right away. You can, take it out when it's still warm, and sometimes some of the topping will stick to the pan a little bit. All you do is scrape it out with your scraper and like spread it back on. You can't even tell. So you just scrape it out of the pan, put it back on top of the cake. Looks perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go. Thank you for stopping by to watch. Have a good day and make yourself a yummy pineapple upside down cake. Bye.